Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My call sign is November 9. On the screen, I believe this game came out in 2018 for the Xbox One. It is Call of Cthulhu. Of course, it goes without saying that I may not have pronounced that correctly. Those of you who are fans of H.P. Lovecraft know that human vocal cords cannot conceive of nor correctly pronounce these ancient words, such as Cthulhu or whichever other way I may say it, purposefully or accidentally during the playthrough because I forgot how I said it the first time. But we are going to be doing a complete playthrough of this game. I have never done a playthrough of this game before. Quick note, H.P. Lovecraft, born sometime in the late 1800s, I think, or right after the turn of the century. Died before the end of World War II, I want to say. Died penniless. Born and died in Providence, Rhode Island. I really like Rhode Island, by the way. Great place to visit. He was not famous while he was alive. He wrote for pulps, like cheap magazines that had detective stories and stuff like that in them. After his death, became much more famous, and presumably his estate became wealthy if they retained the rights to his books, of which I don't know. But he was not like some famous author of the time. He was basically kind of clinically depressed, neurotic, suffering from a nerve disease that I know is St. Vitus's dance, where you have involuntary spasms of the limbs. Generally an unhappy person. And based on what I've read, most of his books involving the Cthulhu mythos, or see there, I just pronounced it differently, have as their main character, or the protagonist, I guess, if I'm using that word properly, a military veteran of some sort. In this game, our character is a army veteran of the Great War, also known as World War I. If you've never been to the World War I Museum, it is in Kansas City, Missouri. But without further ado, down at the bottom of the screen, it's flashing Enter Madness. So join me. We're going to go chapter by chapter through Call of Cthulhu. Boston, 1924. Edward Pierce, veteran of the First World War, drowns his memories in liquor and sleeping pills. He is now a private detective who has trouble finding a case able to lift him from his torpor. Pierce must find a new case quickly or risk losing his license. So those of us who may have achieved a little bit of a higher education might know what torpor is, or what we think it is. But just for everybody's benefit, a torpor is a state of physical or mental inactivity or lethargy. So that is your word for the day. Torpor. T-O-R-P-O-R. All right, let's enter madness. If I am mad, it is mercy. May the gods pity the man who in his callousness can remain sane to the hideous end. H.P. Lovecraft. We appear to be in some sort of underground cave system. There's the outside, I think. Let me tell you, folks, if you're not familiar with the ocean and the way things smell, this stuff, if it is not fresh out of the ocean, smells really, really, really bad. I grew up in New England. I can tell you this room probably would be very malodorous. That means it would smell really bad. And clearly I am not strong enough to break a chain. So let's tiptoe through the tulips here. Door is chained too. So let's go see if we can find something. You must light up some items in order to interact with them. Wow. That has a lantern icon. This is a lantern. And this pair of bolt cutters, which in real life probably would not be able to cut this chain.
In my wake, pulled along, fate inescapably draws you on.
So it's saying we don't have a choice. Wherever we go in here is due to fate and not our own free will.
What a putrid offering.
What a putrid offering. So the killer whale here, which is I believe is really a dolphin, is an offering. It's like somebody took a big bite out of crime there. Good grief. Folks, trust me, this smells so bad you can't even imagine it. If it was real.
Don't fight. You have been chosen.
So we have been chosen to complete whatever task lies ahead of us. This is running, apparently, in the world of Call of Cthulhu.
Behold,
It's like
everything has already been written. But perhaps you will attempt to change your destiny.
Alright, I turned that off so we could talk. Let's not blame that on the whiskey, sir. So in that... Oh, God. Can't these people just text me?
I'm listening.
Are you Edward Pierce, private investigator contracted by the Wentworth Detective Agency?
That's correct.
Hello, Mr. Pierce. I'm Lucy Sherifield, in charge of investigators over at Wentworth. I'm calling because of a problem with your file. A fire has destroyed some of our documents.
Is that right?
I'm so very sorry, but I have to collect your personal information yet again.
Alright, allocate your character points. Each character point allows you to improve the score of a skill. So strength, a professional skill. We need 6 points to get to level 4. Strength represents your ability to call upon your physical power. Improving this skill increases your chances of forcing doors or mechanisms, or of using violence, physical or verbal, intimidation, during interactive discussions. Eloquence. It's at level 2, and it's 4 to the next level. It says amateur. Oh, so 3 is a professional level, probably from our military background. And eloquence is at an amateur level. Eloquence represents your ability to influence those you talk to by your power of speech. Improving this skill increases your chances of convincing or manipulating during discussions. So basically our speech challenges will be reliant on the eloquence skill. Spot hidden. So as you can see, that is increasing halfway. So we only need to spend 2 points to get it to the next level. Spot hidden represents your ability to find hidden objects. Improving this skill increases your chances of finding hidden objects. Well, there you go. An undiscovered object will not appear in game. So that seems valuable. Psychology. Totally amateur in this one, level 2. Psychology represents your knowledge of human behavior. Improving this skill increases your chances of understanding the motivations of a person based on his or her behavior or on the analysis of objects. So if you're a Law and Order, Criminal Intent fan, maybe Bobby Gorin would have this maxed out. Understanding human behavior. And then we have investigation. Investigation represents your investigating talents. Improving this skill increases your chances of understanding past events by analyzing a crime scene or an object and of picking locks. So that seems really valuable to me. And even though we only have 8 points to spend, increasing our ability to understand past events by analyzing a crime scene and picking locks, that's kind of a 2-for-1. So I consider that a really valuable skill. Now let's look at these minor skills. Occultism. It's 4 points to boost it to level 2. Occultism represents your knowledge of the occult sciences. Improving this skill increases your chances of determining the use and origin of occult artifacts and of expressing your knowledge of the myth. Well, I would imagine we probably don't have a lot of experience there. And medicine, we can spend 2 points to advance to the next level. Medicine represents your medical knowledge. Improving this skill increases your chances of determining the dosage of a drug, of making a diagnosis, or of expressing your understanding of a medical problem. Well, based on what I've seen here, I am very tempted to spend 4 points here, because I think it's going to come in handy, but then if I spend 4 there and 2 there, then I only have 2 left over, and we could jack spot hidden up to 3. But I really like getting investigation up to level 4, because it's going to help us not only do our primary job, which is to investigate, but also pick locks. Oh boy, choices. And And I'm going to say because this guy was in the military, he would have some rudimentary medical knowledge. So I'm going to boost that to there, and that is how we're going to go step out into the world. 6 points into investigation, and 2 points into medicine. So let's validate.
Thank you for this information, Mr. Pierce. Our files will soon be up to date. And on a related matter, may I raise a sensitive question?
What's wrong?
As you know, we wish to closely monitor the progress of our contractors. And it would seem you've been accepting fewer new cases.
Work is scarce.
Mr. Pierce, you know as well as I do there's never been more investigative work than now.
But are those cases worth it?
They're worth not losing your license. Show yourself worthy of the Wentworth Detective Agency, and we might keep you on the payroll. Mr. Pierce, are you still...
I'm coming.
Sir, I came here on the advice of a person whom I hold in high esteem, and I must say that I expected anything but a drunkard's lair.
You're free to leave anytime, sir.
Do you know to whom you speak?
Stephen Webster, industrialist and art collector. All of Boston knows you.
Tell me, Mr. Pierce, are you capable of handling a new case, or are you simply a deadbeat inebriate?
If you come to me, it means you're desperate.
Nobody believes me. They take me for an old fool. Sarah, my little girl, she is dead. Even you must know of her. She was Sarah Hawkins.
The painter? Yes. Everyone knows her work.
The police accuse her of killing her family. They all died in a fire. Sarah, her husband, and Simon, my grandson.
I can't do anything for a woman who is already dead.
Find out the truth. They say she was mad, but I know that's a lie. She would never have done such a thing.
But if you have no proof...
I've brought all that I have. Look. I want you to look carefully at this painting. Tell me all the assumptions that come to mind.
What am I supposed to find?
Tell me if this is the work of madness. Or if, on the contrary, you manage to detect some logic, a rationality to follow so that I may understand it.
Is that all you want from me?
Yes, please.
All right. I'll look at your picture. That's all you've got? The painting?
I placed a file on your desk. It contains everything I have on the affair.
All right, let's get a little background first from the file.
A warehouse on Darkwater. Some sketches of the Hawkins family. Rather thin.
All right, so we have 3 pieces of evidence. A shipping label. Some of it is unreadable, but I can make out part of the address. Warehouse 36, Darkwater. All right, police report. It says that the fire started in the dining room and claimed the whole family. The police decide on a domestic accident, but they, nevertheless, insist on Sarah Hawkins' mental frailty. Why? A press cutting. An article written about the marriage of Sarah and Charles Hawkins, a businessman from the island of Darkwater. They live a recluse life there with their only son, Simon. So the photograph must be Sarah, and then we're drawing on the upper left, Simon in the middle at the bottom, and Charles to the right. All right. Interesting. So we did all that. Now let's look at this painting. It's a woman shielding someone, her child maybe, from this hooded figure with a strange symbol on his chest. And there's fire behind him.
What's this symbol on the man's chest? It's as if Sarah Hawkins breathed a message into it.
So, Mr. Pierce, what do you make of these elements?
The sender's label mentions Warehouse 36.
That's right. It came with Sarah's last painting.
And you think your daughter could have been the sender?
That is what you must find out. Go to Darkwater. Find Warehouse 36.
Darkwater? Never heard of the place. Where is that?
It's a small, remote island off the coast of Boston. Sarah lived there with her son and her husband.
I suppose you want to ship me off there.
Darkwater holds the secret regarding my daughter, Mr. Pierce. You must uncover it.
You must tell me if what the police suggest about the mental state of your daughter is true.
No. Sarah had visions. Everyone knew that. She never would have hurt a fly. She only thought she saw things.
Saw things? What do you mean by that?
I never knew what she meant by that. My daughter was an enigmatic figure, Mr. Pierce. You must find out the truth about her life and death.
So, to me, when somebody says they saw things, I think either they're suffering from mental illness with delusional ideation, or maybe they've sustained a head injury where pressure is being exerted on part of their brain, or maybe they have a brain tumor which is causing damage or pressure on the ocular nerves, and maybe that's how they're seeing visions. So that's interesting. But I'm not quite sure where that fits into this just yet.
The meaning could be exactly as it appears. I think your daughter is sending you a message.
That's what I believe, too. It was 3 months ago that I received the call from the police telling me of my daughter's death. And yet a short while after, this painting was delivered to my home. The painting is linked to this case, can't you see? You must find the meaning behind all this.
Her husband was a big deal on the island. But the police are sticking to the accident theory. Though they mentioned Sarah's mental state was fragile. I believe you are right, sir. This case is not as simple as it appears.
I am aware of that. I believe there is more to this case than just an accident.
I think I'm beginning to understand.
I'm willing to do anything for my daughter to recover her honor.
Quiet down. I'm on your side. Let's sum things up. An artist dies with her family in a house fire. Your only clue is a sort of promontory painting sent from Darkwater right before her death.
Correct. And the rumors about her supposed folly.
Which you don't totally deny.
Find that warehouse. Find out the truth regarding Sarah Hawkins' death. You'll be handsomely compensated.
All right. I'll take the case. I'll go to Darkwater and look into the death of your daughter.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. I didn't expect any less coming from a man in your situation.
Something's queer. But it's not like I have a choice. Darkwater. I think I've got a book on the North Atlantic. I'll no doubt find some information on this island in there.
Alright, so now we get a chance to look around our office, which we never got to do because we were so rudely interrupted by the Alexander Graham Bell motto phone. I will give you this video's piece of trivia. You probably know this because my viewers are nothing but the most educated on the internet, but Alexander Graham Bell wanted ahoy to be the greeting when you answered the phone. Like we're all on the ocean or something like that. Yeah. Sailboat. Alright, so presumably these books increase our medical knowledge. This is progression. So we got 2% for every book. So that's good, I guess. It's better than no percent. They had us open this drawer for no reason. Fantastic.
I used to be an avid reader.
Me too, until I had to get reading glasses.
The Wentworth Agency doesn't attract top-notch cases.
Well, I hate to say it, sir, but you don't appear to be a top-notch detective. Just someone who leaves books and empty bottles of Maker's Mark laying around.
The Lost Battalion. Holding your position and obeying orders. That isn't courage.
So I'm a military veteran and I'm an Army veteran, and I kind of disagree here. I mean, it's not necessarily the best course of action, but holding your ground when you're surrounded by the enemy. See, here's the story of the Lost Battalion, everybody. During World War I, which is mostly consisted of trench warfare, this Lost Battalion actually went into enemy territory and became surrounded by the enemy for almost a week, or maybe even longer than that, before they finally figured a way back to friendly territory. And I want to say there's a movie that I thought was pretty good starring Ricky Schroeder, which is kind of a laugher, because if you are of the vintage I am, you remember Ricky Schroeder the way people in their 30s or 40s now remember Mark Paul Gosselaar on Saved by the Bell. So Ricky Schroeder was a Mark Paul Gosselaar of his generation, so to speak, and he's in that movie about the Lost Battalion. World War I, very brutal fighting, trench warfare, the first rudimentary tanks. Yeah, not so fun.
Married woman runs off with her girlfriend. The husband couldn't understand it.
Well, perhaps in the 1920s, people didn't do that back then. Or at least talk about it.
Darkwater is off the coast of Boston. But I've never heard of it. According to this book, it was often mentioned during whale hunting times at the end of the 19th century. But it seems to have been shunned since then.
So I'm from New England, grew up in New England, not living there now. You know, the living life on the water, as a lot of New England does, you can really feel that in the culture. I want to say there's an extensive whaling museum in New Bedford, Massachusetts. I personally have not yet been there, at least not that I remember. This says Darkwater Island has been inhabited since the 14th century. Sounds like Oak Island. And is still rich with the many memories left by its lost tribes. But don't let the romanticism of these moving evidences of such naive and primitive beliefs fool you into forgetting how violent their gods were. Huh. Maybe this book is alluding their gods are the gods of H.P. Lovecraft. A gigantic creature still ornates the walls of long abandoned caves. Was it a sea or a dream god? No one knows. But today's inhabitants, the sons and daughters of the proud whale hunters, still remember the mysterious and tumultuous story of their small land off the coasts of Massachusetts.
All I have to do is go to the port. I just hope that I can find a boat able to take me to Darkwater. Natural sciences, linguistics, archaeology. I should get rid of all this stuff.
Look at that, folks. Once you turn off the tunes, you can't turn them back on. That's some bull right there. Alright, so I think we have, what is that? Sleeping pills, maybe? Oh, wait a minute. What's this? I'm about to go somewhere. So I think we've milked the office dry of clues. What is she protecting her son from? And more importantly, what did she fail to protect herself and her son from? All right, folks, that is the end of chapter 1. I apologize for the background noise. I have one of these newfangled air conditioning machines, and it is conditioning the air right now while we speak and while I'm recording this. So when we come back in chapter 2, we will explore the mysterious Dark Water Port. Again, my call sign is November 9. Any likes, comments, always appreciated, as well as the infamous subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on chapter 2.